Yes, hello. Welcome to my party. Ads. The time is time to get going. Where is the display? It is a fair question. Hello. Welcome to my party. We have talked to all of these fucks that we can. I feel like people generally expect you to go to the right. I don't know why. And I want to go to the gift shop. Oh, although if we're reading left to right, who knows? We're doing what normal people do, is you go to the gift shop too soon. Is this Carmen Sandiego? Is this, damn, what's her name? Melissa McCarthy. It'd been funnier if I was quicker on it. Do I really want to ask? Who the fuck are you? I want to ask. Oh, is the Countess the one? Is she Carmen Sandiego? There's no way that you know anything about any of these people. When I did my video, when I was editing everything, I did find out who more people are. This was my editor. He's like, who the fuck cares? But we keep asking.
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, but he sounds simply charming. I imagine a man who runs a newspaper must be quite wealthy,
Are you a money grubber? I gotta get out of your way.
Ah, truly a man of great ambition and integrity,
Although she's an old lady, old broad. Are you, like... That was the whole thing with the Flaps Flanagan. It looked like she was wearing a hat to me. Not gray hair.
Dr. Carrington, what about him? I know very little about the man.
Now that's odd. I could have sworn Mr. Dorian said that you met Dr. Carrington in a taxi when he arrived on the Andrea Doria.
Yes, so what if I did? I mean, yes, I did meet him that night. Our families are, old allies from the time of the War with Roses. I felt obliged to meet him upon his arrival. Noblesse oblige, you understand.
Oblige. You seem like a big fat liar.
Well, to tell you the truth, dear girl, I find him to be a crude, uncultured ruffian.
I hope you don't know Crodfowler.
Oh, I do enjoy a bit of crodfoller with my tea.
Oh, Cruller.
I'm sure I've never met him, Miss Bow.
That's what I'm talking about.
I've never met your father, dear girl. He's a policeman, you say. How delightful. He seems a perfectly dreadful little fellow. Let's not discuss him.
Yeah. I think you got Ziggy well in hand.
My, she is unusual, isn't she, dear girl? I can't stand that horrid ferret of hers. I'm sure it hates me.
Ferret? Did she say ferret?
I am not interested in discussing that little trollop.
She is that.
Oh, Mr. Heimlich is simply dreadful. think his tiny taste of authority has gone to his little head.
I think
Don't
that's
you, Miss
fair.
Bow?
Yeah. He's very, no.
What a lovely boy. He has such charming manners, and he's so handsome,
Everybody knows Steve Dorian. He's very popular. How do you just know some random guy at the docks?
Why, that's me, silly child.
I know.
Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carlton.
I know your friend!
Oh, he's a darling little man, just darling. I'm afraid I haven't read your newspaper, dear girl. I try to
Ever?
avoid the news. I find it distressing. We live in such terrible times.
We do.
Well, they have a job to do, I suppose.
See, you're afraid of things. You're a liar.
Oh, heavens, my dear. My laundry is done by my maids.
Why do I keep thinking I gotta go over there?
The docks are dreadful, rough places, Miss Bow. Simply dreadful.
Then how do you know Steve Dorian?
I think the Lion Dagger is simply divine, don't you?
Yes. Divine.
New York is simply charming, Miss Bow. It has so much culture for an American city.
Where are you from?
Miss Bow, you must be sure to avoid such dens of iniquity. They can only ruin a young lady's reputation.
You go! Maybe she don't meet her there.
Oh, you jot everything down. How very industrious of you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of my notebook.
It's wise to observe what goes on around you, dear girl. I always do.
Want some water?
Well, I've seen many glasses tonight, dear girl. It is a party, you know.
This is mine.
Countess, has 1926 been a good year for you?
Oh, no, dear girl. It's been absolutely horrid. My darling husband Sterling died this year, you know. I don't know what I'll do without him.
I keep it now.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that, Countess.
Well, aren't you this sweet little thing? Thank you, my dear.
Everybody else is really liked this year.
What do you make of the theft of the Dagger of Amon Ra, Countess?
Oh, it's horrid. Simply horrid. What sort of creature would make off with a priceless work of art, I wonder?
Do you have any ideas about who it might have been?
Oh, my, no! I try not to associate with dreadful people, dear girl.
I think you're full of shit.
Do you know much about Egyptology, Countess?
Only a little, dear girl. I find it quite diverting.
Diverting? Can I talk to
The
you?
fanatically happy partygoers just ignore you and
Thank goodness.
the fanatically happy partygo
Oh, they're fanatically happy. Hold on, let's listen.
the fanatically happy partygoers just ignore you entirely. Not only are they high society snobs, but they're so intent on pretending to have a hysterically good time that they don't even notice you.
Look.
The fanatically happy
Blurs, blurs, blurs,
fanatically happy
blurs, blurs,
the fanatic
blurs, blurs.
the fanat
Yes, I like these blurs better. I mean, the other ones, the semi-happy people, they were like, they simply don't act like I exist, which is better than active scoffing, I think. Nobody's in here. I want to buy this bust that seems to be of Nefertiti.
It's a replica of the famous bust of Nefertiti.
Ha!
We've always wondered if the paint wore off, or if the queen really had white eyes. These appear
No
to be
t-shirts.
copies of ancient Egyptian artifacts. They seem to be nicely crafted. These appear to be copies of These vessels appear to be replicas of 7th century Welsh condiment pots made for export to Ireland.
I have seen the real bust of Nefertiti at the Neues Museum in Berlin.
These are replicas of early 12th century Celtic insect trapping pottery. These vessels appear to be replicas of 7th century Welsh condiment pots.
Those are big condiments. You could fit a lot of ketchup in there.
These vessels appear to be replicas of 7th century Welsh condiment. These vessels appear to be replicas of 7th century Welsh These vessels appear...
Fine. Somebody's gonna accuse me of thievery in
It's
here.
a painting of the pharaoh Uber Spamaton hunting geese in the springtime with his hounds and his son, Niet.
Niet.
What a beautiful painting of the Mask of Tutankhamun. You wish you had the money to buy it.
All my money got stolen. Mint sauce, brown sauce.
This case holds beautiful museum replicas.
Horseradish sauce. It's like a 5-gallon bucket of horseradish sauce.
This is the counter where the counter counts the money.
The counter counts. What's under here?
They appear to be broken pots of some kind. Probably authentic artifacts. Or maybe someone just dropped them. It's the cash register.
I'm gonna get in trouble on purpose, but I will save it. Thief. Somebody's gonna come in, for sure.
Laura, you'd never steal.
I wouldn't! Is there something... What is this on top? What is this?
Don't touch it. You don't know where it's been.
Grey Poupon. Some kind of chutney. Look at the knives. Oh, God! In a pickup kind of way? In a break the glass kind of way?
It looks just like the Dagger of Amon Ra. Isn't it beautiful?
It's only a model.
This case holds beautiful museum replicas. It looks just like the... It looks just like the Dagger of Amon Ra. Isn't
Closer.
it beautiful?
What do you want me to do?
You can't touch the daggers on display in the locked case.
Oh. Made in Pittsburgh.
The dagger shows Pittsburgh's high degree of craftsmanship. The dagger shows Pittsburgh's high degree of craftsmanship. The dag...
Are there multiples? Or is it just for the joke? Oh, that one doesn't have it.
The dagger shows a high degree of craftsmanship.
He's not made in Pittsburgh!
You can't touch the daggers on display in the locked case.
Oh. Uh-oh. He's goose-stepping!
Fräulein, this gift shop is closed. You should not be here.
Oh, I'm sorry. The door was unlocked.
Unlocked? My assistant will be disciplined harshly for this mistake. Please rejoin the party now. I will be forced to injure you.
You're just some fucking security guard, motherfucker. You're like a mall cop. Bitch. I think it's just, the real one's just like in there. Gift shop.
It's an alcove occupied by a giant urn. The giant urn is occupied by the cremated remains of Ignaz Leyendecker, who financed the construction of the museum.
Missed what I said. I say lots of things. I said maybe the real dagger is just in the gift shop, hidden. It's all lies. Man, you take a long time to walk. Wish I could fast travel. I bet I should look in that pot. Think somebody put something in that pot? Hold on. Let me go look at that pot.
This is the eastern portion of the Leyendecker Museum.
No,
This is the east.
they don't give a shit about that pot.
You can almost feel the low level of excitement in the room. Many of these partygoers have attended hundreds of fundraising events, seeing the same people, eating the same
Oh, this is a different
food,
person.
talking about the same things, and generally leading very dreary high society lives.
Hold up. You still
The
just blurs?
fanatically happy party.
You're fanatically happy.
The fanatic.
Okay, great. I am delighted. This fucking guy.
Back to the rotunda, Fräulein. The rest of the museum is off limits. And you are spooking their mastodons.
Spooking? Such a buzzkill. But I'm mildly grateful that I can't go through the entire museum. Because I would have to look at everything. You back here, Laura?
It's a fine column of rare black travertine marble quarried in the high Himalayan mountains. According to legend, these multi-ton blocks of marble were carried down to civilization on the backs of trained Nepalese frogs. Nepalese frogs are very large.
I would like to see one of these frogs. Okay. Let's make sure they're blurs.
The happy part.
Here.
The happy partygoers just ignore you entirely, considering themselves high above your. The happy party.
Happy.
The happy.
I am so pleased. Ugh. I'm gonna have to talk to 3 people. Jesus. Here, I'm gonna save it. Happy party people. Alright, strap in. Can we look at them and know who the people are? Can I go back here? Exit. Never mind.
You see a rotund, ruddy-complexioned man in a fez. Despite his bulk, he moves with dignity and grace. A severe, conservative, middle-aged woman with an intelligent look in her eye.
Are you Miklos?
You see a tall Irish gentleman with red hair who acts like a cop.
Is this O'Reilly? Yeah, let's double check.
Why, that's me, silly girl. Detective Ryan Hanrahan O'Reilly, at your service.
You being nicer to me. Hold on, I'm in my own way. Alright.
Now there's a man who doesn't know his head from a hole in the ground. Sure and begorra, anyone who'd allow his paper to print letters criticizing the police farce is downright addled.
Free press! O'Reilly!
That fella is just too big for his britches, that's all I have to say. Someone ought to take him down a notch or two.
Police farce, sounds right. Yeah, we agree. Mr. Carter is an asshole.
He's got too many brains, that one. He thinks he's better than us all.
I don't know how smart I think he is.
He's the wee pest who likes to hang around the station house. In fact, I thought he was supposed to cover this so-called event.
He was?
Oh well, no big loss. That man is a few cards short of a full deck, but he always presses me pants, just like me sainted mother used to do.
Just like me sainted mother.
I think I've heard of your father, over in New Orleans, isn't he, lass?
Oh,
They
yeah.
say he was pretty good, for one of those southern boys.
Oh yeah. It's a cop no cop thing.
That man is a human weasel. Stay away from him, lassie.
Yeah, I think you got him right.
That woman is downright unnatural, Miss Laura. I'd stay away from her if I were you. She keeps asking me if I've got any scars, don't you know?
That's a little weird question, but I'm curious what her deal is.
Now there's a lovely girl. A real lady, don't you know?
Yeah, sure.
He's not much of a security guard, if you're asking me. How could I trust a man who allowed a thief to waltz right in here and steal one of the exhibits if he didn't do it himself? He hasn't even got an alibi for the night of the burglary, since he was here alone.
How come you didn't write any of that in your report?
He seems nice enough, but I wouldn't trust anyone who works on the docks. They're pretty rough company for a wee lass like you.
I did fine on the docks.
Now there's a slippery old bat. If she's royalty, then I'm Rudolph Valentino.
You ask yourself,
Whoop. I didn't mean to click me.
I don't like that wee fella. Think he's light in his loafers, don't you know?
What does that mean? Light in your loafers. I've heard it.
The
Is it
Tribune
dumb?
is a hotbed of yellow journalism, young lady. You should find yourself a better place to work. Have you considered being a secretary?
Detective O'Reilly, the Tribune is a fine, upstanding paper. And no, I don't want to be a secretary. But it would be none of your business if I did.
Temper, temper, missy. I thought you reporters were supposed to stay objective.
Objective doesn't mean without opinions or loyalties, Detective.
Well, all I have to say is I'd like to see you in the middle of a catfight, lassie. You'd win, claws down.
I'd rather fight you, see?
New York's police force truly is the finest in the world, and don't you forget it, lassie.
It's a euphemism for being gay. More backward stuff. Oh. Where does the
They're
phrase
pretty
come
good.
from?
They always put just enough starch in me shirts. The docks are dangerous places, lassie, infested with as many cutthroats as there are rats. I'd stay away from there if I were you. It's all right if you like that sort of thing. I think it's a waste of time myself. I'd rather be down at the pub knocking one back with me buddies.
You think the museum is a waste of time, you uncultured swine?
Do you like living in New York, Detective O'Reilly?
Begorra, yes, girl. 'Tis truly the land of opportunity. Just look at me.
Yeah. You got an opportunity even though you were bad at everything.
Mark my words, lassie. I'll have every one of those dens of iniquity closed up by the end of this year.
Speakeasies find a way. You want to see my notebook?
Oh, you've got a little notebook. Isn't that cute? Well, if you solve the mystery of the missing letter opener, we'll make you an honorary police girl.
This was the worst showing of my notebook yet.
So do you suppose you're gonna find lots of important clues with your little magnifying glass, missy?
Quit.
Let me know if you find anything important.
I will solve this crime, and I will take your job. Detective is a lady job too. Whoops, wrong one. Would you like a drink of water?
Do you always carry a water glass around, lassie? Were you lost in a desert as a girl?
Yes. I would appreciate you not mentioning it.
Detective O'Reilly, has 1926 been a good year for you?
Oh, most definitely, lass. I've put away more criminals this year than you'll ever see in your whole life.
That makes it both a bad year and a good year, doesn't it, Detective? I mean, if there were that many criminals on the loose to begin with, we must be in some sort of crime wave.
You see it your way, lassie, and I'll see it mine.
I need to close my back door because I'm letting bugs in. It's got dark. Hold on. What? Yeah, tell me about the burglary, jackass.
If you ask me, missy, they're blowing the whole thing out of proportion. Begorra, you'd think that something important had been stolen.
You don't consider a priceless Egyptian artifact to be important?
Listen, girlie, if I chased down every petty theft that occurred within the nastier segments of the population, I'd be working 30 hours a day.
I would hardly call the Lion Decker Museum a nasty segment of the population, Mr. O'Reilly. And if you're referring to our Egyptian visitors, shame on you. And don't call me girly.
Yeah.
By me father's whiskers, you're a fiery one, Miss Laura. All right, I won't call you girly, little lassie.
Lassie either.
Do you know anything about Egyptology, Detective O'Reilly?
He's not gonna.
Enough to know it's a bloody waste of time.
Hey!
Sifting through all those old bones and rotting tombs. Better to let the dead rest, don't you know?
Don't you know, Bobby? Are you this lady?
Me? How sweet of you to ask about me, my dear. Well, I consider myself a simple woman. Just an echoing museum, a few hundred dead things, and a ferret for company. And I could be happy for the rest of my life.
I would
Well,
like to meet your
with
ferret.
a little male companionship from time to time, that is.
I'm in your way. Okay. Back to it!
Mr. Agostini? I have only met him once or twice at social affairs. He seems to be very competent, that one. Dr. Carter is an odd one, if you ask me. He is so very interested in gaining personal glory. He doesn't seem to fully understand the beauty of what he has discovered. Why, the Amon Ra artifacts are a symphony, a tribute to the wonders of death. Ah.
The wonders of death. She is a bit of an odd one.
Dr. Carrington is a quiet one. I don't see him very often.
He's over there.
I'm certain, however, that he must have a poetic soul.
What makes you say that, Dr. Meeklows?
I have seen him walking amongst the dead in the Egyptian exhibit late at night. I cannot blame him. It's better than moonlight on headstones. Ah.
You are weird. People are right.
Ah, yes. Detective O'Reilly. I can't say that I'm overly fond of that one. He has little respect for the wonderful things in the museum, and he is too firmly rooted in this life. I do not believe that he likes the dead at all. Can you imagine?
What a crazy bastard.
I am sorry, but I don't know what a crowdfaller is.
Thank goodness.
Ah, is it some sort of pastry?
Close.
Oh yes, he runs the laundry down the way. He always manages to keep the pleating in my silk shrouds just right.
Clouds.
No, I'm afraid I don't know Detective John Bow. He is your father?
Yes.
That's nice.
That's nice.
I admire the police. They get to spend so much time with the sick and the dead. And in New Orleans, yet with those beautiful cemeteries.
You should work at like a funeral home or something. You should drive the hearse.
An odd little fellow, that one. He reminds me of one of the specimens in my dried rat collection.
Dried rat?
I find Yvette to be a charming young lady. Some people around here don't appreciate her zest for life, but I find her quite refreshing.
I think there's a lot of people here that appreciate her zest for life. Whoops, wrong one.
Ah, Wolf. He has some lovely scars, doesn't he? Just between us girls, I think he's dreamy.
You like a Nazi?
Ah, the young stevedore, Steve Dorian? He is a charming young fellow. I imagine he has some wonderful scars from working on the docks.
Who was it? The Countess who told us that she was weird and like to talk about scars?
I don't know if I trust that one. She screamed when she saw my beautiful dried rat exhibit and cried out like a baby when my ferret Daisy bit her ankle. Foolish woman.
So chasing Daisy is chasing the ferret. She asked the cop about his scars. Okay, that makes more sense.
Mr. Najir is a very quiet one, isn't he? And so polite. Sometimes I wonder about him, though. I see a certain light in his eyes, like Daisy's, when she's about to kill a spider. I think I like Mr. Najir.
Oh, I didn't know what she means after all. Yeah. If you know what I mean. It's like, no clue.
The Tribune is an excellent paper. You are most fortunate to be employed there, Miss Bow.
Thank you.
Why, thank you, Dr. Miklos.
Stick with the Tribune, my dear, and you will almost certainly go far. Their article on dysentery in the Herdanos of Spain was simply marvelous.
I really love that article about dysentery. Changed my life.
Oh, I find the police fascinating. They spend all their time trying to stop crime and murder, and yet they shoot people themselves. Interesting, isn't it?
Not in a million years would I guess she meant running after a ferret. Yeah. Even her having a ferret was a surprise.
I'm sure I don't have an answer for that, Miss Bow.
Everybody has laundry. Some of it dirty.
I love to walk along the docks on a moonlit night and feed carrion to the rats. Such friendly little fellows.
You're like a future Batman villain or something.
The Lion Decker is my home now. I never want to leave it. Its musty hallways and creeping shadows are in my very blood. Can you imagine spending an entire lifetime drifting through the land of the dead? That opportunity is mine, and I treasure it.
You're kind of intense.
How do you like living in New York, Dr. Miklos?
You see my lap, Togi?
Well, I had always heard it was a city rife with crime and danger and murder. So far, I have not been disappointed. Yes, I am aware that many people enjoy going to such places. I personally do not. I find them too noisy and the people are too lively. I would like to get a good close look at some of those hedonist livers, however. That bootleg alcohol is quite strong.
Too lively. You see my notebook?
Ah, you are wise to carry a notebook, my dear. One never knows when one may see or hear something that will change one's life forever. You are wise to carry a magnifier, my dear. You miss so many of the good things if you don't look close enough. Imagine never seeing pores or lice or fungus spores.
Imagine.
Did you know that bacteria can survive on the rim of a glass for 3 days, my dear?
Terrible. I do now.
So, Dr. Miklos, has this been a good year for you?
I would say yes, very good. I came here from Greece just a short time ago, and look at me now, curator of the largest private museum in New York.
I'm happy to hear that, Dr. Miklos. Tell me, have you noticed anything unusual at the museum lately?
The whole museum is unusual, my dear. We are surrounded by dead things. Just walk around for a while and breathe in its wonderful atmosphere. Why, the whole place smells of death.
You are a weird lady.
I just may do that. Have you ever noticed any dead things that, well, don't belong?
My dear, every dead thing belongs. Dead things are our friends.
You are like that little girl on The Walking Dead that had to look at the flowers.
Dr. Miklos, do you have any idea who would want to steal the dagger of Amon Ra?
Very funny. Everybody, silly girl. It's a priceless artifact.
Except for
Not only that, but
O'Reilly.
it is said that the blade is an unknown alloy that can slice through bone like butter.
I suppose that
she
was
seems
a
like
silly
someone who would be
question
friends with a
after
zombie,
all.
yes.
Let me rephrase that. Do you know of anyone with any particular motive?
Well, Tut Smith and Ramesses Najir both wanted it very badly to return it to their homeland. But they are both so upset, it hardly seems possible that they could have done it. Then again, perhaps they are just fine actors.
Actors. That would be impossible. Those do not exist in this game.
You're an expert in Egyptology, aren't you, Dr. Miklos?
Well, yes, I suppose I am. I have been fascinated with the ancient Egyptians since I was a tiny girl. They loved death like you Americans love baseball.
So hot for death. So, she mentioned this guy's name. I think. No? Am I gonna be able to talk to that guy? Gotta go through all the shit. Let's start with something less stupid. Let's ask about the burglary.
Have you heard anything about the burglary?
No?
Do you have any idea who would want to steal the dagger of Amon Ra?
It has already been stolen once from Egypt.
I can see I won't get anywhere with you on this topic.
I see. We've seen him talk before, but I don't know his name. Don't walk in front of him, damn it!
I do not know this individual.
Thank God.
You dare to mention his name to me? He is the blasphemous temple destroyer and tomb robber who stole the dagger of Amon Ra from Egypt. He will know the full force of the curse of the pharaohs.
The curse of the pharaohs? What's that?
The defilers of the great Egyptian tombs and temples will all die as a result of their crimes. The gods themselves will punish them. The great Amon Ra will snuff out Peep and Carter's life as easily as I can crush a dung beetle under my shoe.
How will this happen?
Amon Ra works in mysterious ways. You will have to wait and see. I had hoped that Dr. Carrington would listen to reason. I had made another appointment to speak with him about the return of the dagger of Amon Ra to its rightful home. But this seems futile since it is no longer in the museum.
Another appointment? You spoke to Dr. Carrington once already?
Only by phone. He denied Egypt's claim to the dagger. It was hoped that a personal visit would convince him of our sincerity. But the situation has changed since then. I believe he's investigating the burglary of the dagger of Amon Ra.
He's not doing it hard enough.
Perhaps, if he'd stopped drinking, he might have a chance at finding it.
He doesn't give a shit, my dude.
I still have some trouble with your language. I do not know this Grodfeller. It is some sort of local delicacy.
They really love that joke.
I do not understand the term low fat. Perhaps it is because I learned English in Egypt. The English longbow was a formidable weapon. The English won the Battle of Agincourt against formidable odds because they were equipped with longbows.
I said John Bow, not Longbow.
I've never heard of a John bow. It must have been an American invention. Never heard of it. Dr. Miklos is very well educated for a woman. I would like her more if she were an Egyptian. Ah, a delightful girl. I keep asking her if she'd like to be my second wife. She is so very feminine and seductive and charming and attractive
Wow.
and
Okay, okay. I get the idea.
Everybody loves
you try
Yvette.
to be more like Yvette. Men would like you more that way.
Men like me just fine the way I am.
That's what you think. I
Ah!
find you quite annoying.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Heimlich is that annoying guard who works here. His fanatical devotion to his occupation is admirable,
Harsh, yeah.
but he seems lacking in his mental capacities.
Do you know Steve Dorian? He works at the docks.
I don't associate with common dock workers, madam. I have only met her briefly, but she seems to have a sincere concern about my problems. A charming woman. Ramses I was pharaoh during the 19th dynasty, from 1307 to 1306 BC. But Ramses II made more of an impact on ancient Egypt. Ramses II was responsible
this
for
is the
gargantuan
same words that
construction projects which
Carter
left
said.
his mark on the face of Egypt for thousands of years. I admire his great works and hope to emulate his feat someday.
Actually, I was referring to Ramses Najia.
Nigeria's never heard of him.
Are you sure you don't know him?
No? I mean, yes. English is such a difficult language. Never heard of it.
Praise be.
So far, I find the police in your country to be very ineffective. The Egyptian authorities would have captured the dagger thief by now, and they probably would have cut his hands off.
Cut his hands off?
It is the proper punishment for thieves. Tradition demands it. We find it very effective in our country.
I'd be okay with it.
I have not been in this country long enough to discuss the merits of your laundry establishments.
But you've known me for 2 seconds, and already you think I'm annoying. But I am.
arrived there
I
on
know
the
it, I
Andrea
am.
Doria 1 week ago. If I had known Dr. Carrington was aboard that ship, I would have spoken to him at length during the voyage. This could be a fine museum if the management would return its stolen Egyptian artifacts to their proper home.
Since you're new here, what do you think of New York? Isn't it exciting?
It reminds me of Cairo, except that it's colder here and the people are obnoxious.
Okay, so it's not just me. You just dislike everyone. Which is fair, you know?
My English is not good enough to speak easy, but I think it's improving.
He speaks.
Questions are a burden to us.
Shush. I accidentally pressed a button. Do you want to see my notebook?
Taking notes is a typically American thing to do. In Egypt, we remember everything we need to know because our mental capacities are greater. I forget nothing.
You write hieroglyphics on everything. You liar. You got whole fucking columns. It's like, here's this guy, he did this stuff. He had this many goats.
It should come in handy for examining things. However, I would warn you to be careful about what you choose to examine. I can get my own...
Defend that notebook. What did he say? It's my favorite thing.
You already asked me that, you silly female.
Ah! Calling everybody a female is not just the American thing.
Would you say this has been a good year for you, sir?
No. The great treasures of my country's past are leaving Egypt in a flood greater than the Nile.
As I understand it, artifacts only leave your country with the approval of the Egyptian Antiquities Service.
Bah! The Antiquities Service is a tool of the British. If they want to steal something, they steal it, just like the ancient tomb robbers. But they will pay, just as the tomb robbers paid whenever they were caught.
That almost sounds like a threat.
I, Patash Uptat Smith, do not threaten. I merely carry out the will of the great Amon Ra.
Does the will of Amon Ra include choking a man out? Putting him in a trunk? We already asked him about this. We asked him that first.
Since you're an expert on the subject, what can you tell me about Egyptology?
The study of ancient Egyptian history is of the greatest significance. Many of our modern religious customs originated in the ancient world. The time of the great pharaohs and of the great Egyptian gods was the peak of human civilization. Our modern society is a mere shadow of its former glory when compared to the pinnacle of human development reached by the ancient Egyptians. They knew the truth, and the truth was Amon Ra. He led Egypt to world domination.
Aren't you exaggerating just a teensy bit?
I would not expect you to understand. You are not an Egyptian, and you are a woman.
Ah,
What's that supposed to mean?
I grow tired of this topic. Speak of something else if you wish to continue our conversation.
I'm an Egyptian and I don't want to talk about Egyptology. These guys over here look like they're playing that game where you try to smack each other's hands. Okay, I mean, we didn't do anything and it didn't uncover anything, but we've talked for 1,000 hours. Is there anything on this table?
Don't touch it. You don't know where it... It's a buffet table loaded with food.
Here, have I learned anything from anybody? Has anything changed? Did the time change? You're supposed to sneak up on people? Like an eavesdrop? Dropping some eaves, okay. Well, she's just by herself. Bitch! How do you drop some eaves? Hey, this is not the way to drop eaves.
Heard any good rumors lately?
Maybe or maybe not.
Well,
Then I ain't got...
Can you drop eaves on multiple people? Or is it dims? I'm gonna stand right here. The perfect place to drop eaves. Let's use the magnifying glass.
That's not the sort of thing you want to examine too closely.
Let's get out my notebook. Drink some water.
You hear nothing of interest.
Oh. Is that for... Okay. Is it to be like behind the... Are you supposed to put this on a wall? Or do you just point it at people?
I prefer the wine glass unless I am listening at the doors, no? Don't take me seriously, I am just making the joke.
Making the joke.
No dice, lady. Get your own drink. This is open bar. It's every man for himself.
No, this is just using a wine glass on them.
You hear nothing of interest.
No, thank you. I'm not thirsty at the moment.
That's not what it's doing.
No, thank you. I'm very particular about my hygiene.
Can I look at them from afar? I don't think that's how a magnifying glass works.
You see a bold, greasy...
Whoops. I gotta figure this out.
You hear nothing of interest.
No, thank you. I'm not thirsty.
See, like, some of it's like, oh, you hear nothing of interest.
You hear nothing.
It's because, okay,
I'm not thirsty, lad.
I gotta use this on a wall or something.
You hear nothing. You hear no. You hear.
Maybe in the gift shop?
You hear no. You hear. You hear.
Can I drop eaves on the
You hear nothing.
statically
You
happy
hear-
people?
You hear.
This is not going well. It'll take me 3 years to get onto the other side. This is Marco! Polo!
No, thank you, Dagger.
You hear nothing. You hear.
Eves! Drop! How? There's like a special place to walk into. Is it where fucking Wolf is? It will change to a close-up. It's still not locked. I don't think this is where you're talking about, though. Just behind people. Really, truly. Any people? I'm assuming they're people with names. Gotta walk in front of the stupid table. It's like I had tried to... Oh.
There I was, standing on the hillside above the excavation in the Valley of the Kings, with the faithful Mahmud describing the dance of the Seven Veils to me in great detail, when a shout arose up from the workers below us. Sensing an important discovery at hand, since I have a sixth sense about these things, I scurried downhill to see that a step had been uncovered in the sand. It turned out to be the entrance to the temple of Amon Ra. I took the trowel from the Bosque of Fear and cleared the sand away from the rest of the steps myself, revealing the entrance to the temple. The seal of the necropolis was intact on the door seal, indicating that the temple had not been disturbed. I knew that fate had brought me to the discovery I had been seeking for so long. Tireless after my exertion in clearing the staircase, I used a sledgehammer to break through the sealed doorway. Within lay the greatest accomplishment of my considerable career. Hidden within the darkness, untouched for thousands of years in the isolated temple, lay the magnificent dagger of Amon-Ra, the greatest discovery of modern archaeology.
Good show.
Magnifique. Very impressive, Dr. Carter.
So, that's when you heisted it, right?
No, I didn't heist it, you annoying little man. I took it out of the temple and showed it to the workers, who immediately fell upon their faces, all 350 of them, to show respect for my accomplishment.
I don't
Not
think that
hard
was
to believe, Dr. Carter. Egyptian workers have proudly worked the archaeological digs for many years. I would not think they'd exaggerate their respect for you to such an extent.
But then you weren't there, were you, Mr. Nagier?
Well, no, that's true.
And when was the last time you were in Egypt, Mr. Nagier? You seem to have lost some of your accent.
Well, it has been several years.
I thought as much.
Your discovery really was quite a remarkable achievement, Dr. Carter.
Was remarkable, Dr. Carrington? You mean it is a remarkable achievement. There has never been anything like it before.
Quite so. Correction noted, Doctor.
You're such a twat.
If you will all be excusing me, I see a man I need to speak to.
Of course you do.
Certainly, Miss Delacroix. Certainly.
Ah. We probably gotta go follow her now. Follow that trollop! Damn it. Okay. That was a lot of talking, a lot of jibber jabber. But we're moving, we're grooving, we're getting there. Tomorrow is a bout. I'm not playing, but I will be there, so there will be no stream tomorrow. Sunday is a maybe. I'm not sure of the schedule. But stay tuned, and then we'll be back at it. Bye.